Okay, guys, I'm back to do my second video on civil procedure. It's SMJ, Federal Subject Matter Jurisdiction. Rule is federal courts have limited subject matter jurisdiction and may only hear cases involving federal questions or diversity of citizenship. So federal questions is federal courts have SMJ over civil actions arising under federal law or the U.S. Constitution. Also federal statutes and treaties, which I've seen MBEs on. So they're allowed to hear it if any three of these that it's based on, okay? Now diversity is the second thing. I don't see very many federal questions coming up on essays, but diversity does come up. Diversity of citizenship between citizens of different states. The plaintiffs need to be diverse from the defendants. So if P is from A, and let me see if I can do this really quick here. So we have, let's just do an example on here really quick. So if I have P from A, well, let's just say he's from, let's do, I don't know, P's from California, we'll put C, versus D from, let's just say Wyoming, okay? These are completely diverse because the plaintiff is from California and the defendant is from Wyoming. Now, if we have P1 and P2 versus P2, D2, and D1, let's say P1 is from California, P2 is from Wyoming, D1 is from California, and D2 is from, let's just say, Texas. Okay, so there we go. Not diverse because we have this plaintiff and this defendant both from the state of California. Not going to work there. They must be diverse. They must be completely diverse. Plaintiffs completely diverse from defendants. And how you do diversity based on where they're domiciled. And when I say domiciled, that means where they want to remain indefinitely. So you really got to read the facts on that. Some of these are arguments here. Or where they're physically present or subjective intent to make it permanent. Okay, there's that one. Corporations have dual citizenship. Remember that. Dual citizenship, business is incorporated and the principal place of business. So dual citizenship for a corporation. So the corporation C is going to be business is incorporated, let's just say in state A, and PPB in state B. They have dual citizenship. So if this is the defendant here, none of these plaintiffs can be from the A or the B. And they usually aren't, but sometimes they are. So plaintiffs will be from, let's just say, jurisdiction C and jurisdiction D. Plaintiff 1 and plaintiff 2. Okay? So it's to be completely diverse too. So the way you do a citizenship is they have dual citizenships for corporations. Lots of MBs on those. And then we have to prove the amount in controversy. First we go with our rule. Is it a federal question? No. Then we go to diversity. Is it complete? Yes. And then we have to go to amount in controversy. It must exceed 75,000. 75,000 plus. 75,000 even is not going to work. Must be 75,000 plus. The amount of controversy is determined at the time of filing. Very important. I've seen MBEs on these. At the time of filing. Aggregation. Can we aggregate the claims between plaintiff and defendant? Yes. If there is one plaintiff and one defendant. Or if the joint tortfeasors are defendants. Or if two plaintiffs with a common undivided interest, we can aggregate their claims. If P recovers less than the 75,000, which I've seen on essays, what happens? Let's say he doesn't get the 75,000. He may have to pay D's litigation costs. So you have to argue that on there for recovery. The value of any counterclaim cannot be aggregated to meet the $75,000 requirement. Okay, counterclaims, no. So after we do our federal subject matter jurisdiction rule, federal question if we need to write it up, or diversity if we need to write it up, is a complete diversity, and it must have the amount in meet the amount in controversy, which is 75,000 plus. Both of those elements must be met. Okay. Now we can go to, let's just throw some exceptions in here. Divorce, alimony, child support, or to probate and estate. These are the exceptions to SMJ. We don't need subject matter jurisdiction for these. California subject matter jurisdiction, civil cases, unlimited is the amount in controversy exceeding 25,000. Limited cases, limited court, amount in controversy of 25,000 or less, or small claims So if the plaintiff is an individual, the claim is $10,000 or less. If it's a business entity, then the claim is $5,000 or less. So you just kind of have to remember these if you get a California subject matter jurisdiction essay, not for MBEs, but for essay. Supplemental jurisdiction, this means can we add a claim to this? And yes, we can. Additional claim must share the common nucleus of operative fact. Okay, must have this. Claim arises from the same T&O, transaction or occurrence. Must have both of these. Removal jurisdiction, okay, removal jurisdiction. Only defendants can remove. The case could have been properly brought in either state or federal court in the first place, so figure that out first. Diversity cases, defendant may not remove to federal court if he is a citizen of the forum state. He wants to move it to California, but he's a citizen of California. Nope, can't do that. Timing, defendant must remove no later than 30 days. You have to remember all of these 30 days, 20 days, 14 days. These are important for MBEs. Defendant must remove no later than 30 days after the service of the first removable document, but never later than 1 year after the initial filing. I've seen these on MBEs. Never later than 1 year. Okay, that's removal. Remand, let's just say it wasn't supposed to be removed. Now the plaintiff wants to remand it back to federal court, wherever it was. See what that does. D, attempts to remove a case to federal court and the removal is improper. See, the defendant wanted to remove it, so now the plaintiff wants to move it back to where it was because the removal was improper based on something here. I don't know, didn't do it on time, defendants from that forum state, whatever it was. Now they're going to remand it. The federal court can remand the case back to the state court. The timing is P must move to remand the case within 30 days of removal. Another important, all these numbers you have to memorize. Within 30 days of removal. However, no time limit if the federal court lacks SMJ, since that may be raised at any time. So if you're lacking SMJ, there is no time limit to remand. Okay, so let's do a quick write-up here. I'm going to do my drawing for you guys really quick here. Okay, so here's the write-up. First, we're going to write, of course, we're talking about FSMJ. Give our rule. We ask ourselves, is there a federal question involved? Okay, if the answer is yes, then you go ahead and write that up with your rule. If the answer is no, then we are going to go to diversity. It must be a diversity case. Okay, now remember the 2 prongs for diversity has to be complete diversity, and they have to meet the amount in controversy. Remember, for complete diversity for individuals is where they intend to remain indefinitely or where they're domiciled. For corporations, it's dual. You have to remember those 2. Individuals and corporations, dual citizenship. Okay, amount in controversy has to be 75,000 plus. 75,000 plus. Okay, so aggregation, if it's needed. Remember, 1 plaintiff and 1 defendant can aggregate. Supplemental jurisdiction, if they have the same T&O. We have to add that in there if we need to. And then we give our ruling. Okay. Now, this is also going to come in to effect after all of this. We're going to make it longer here. Let me do this. So after we do our supplemental and our ruling, then we're going to go into removal and remand. So we have to do the whole SMJ flowchart first. Whole essay for SMJ first. And then we go into removal. Write your rule on that. Remember, only defendants can remove. Okay? And if it's not a proper removal, can the plaintiff remand it back to state court? Write that up. So first, you must do the whole entire SMJ first to get to removal and remand. So if the essay question asks you, can the plaintiff remand it back to federal court B? You can't just write on this. You need to start with SMJ, then removal, then remand. Okay, so that's pretty much the write-up, and that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys on my next video.